Good morning, this is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And let me turn this down. That is Radio Australia, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning here in Florida, and the HF bands are doing pretty good. When I got up this morning, I checked, as usual, the solar flux index, and it was a 95. And so I thought, well, man, it's pretty good. And it's a lot better it's been. It's been in the low 80s. And so I thought I'd come down to my workshop and try to see how the HF bands are doing. Also, if you watched my previous show, I found this reference guide right here. And it gave me some inspiration to try some VHF and UHF bands. So I initially turned on this laptop computer right here, which is controlling this scanner right here. And I also, while it was booting up, because it's a real old laptop, takes a while to boot up, I turned on this Radio Shack shortwave radio. Try to do two things at once. Well, when the laptop came up, it was getting noise into the shortwave radio, which is not unusual. I just forgot about that. And they're very close proximity the way I've got it set up now. So I thought, well, I think I'm more interested in seeing how the HF bands are doing than the VHF bands. So I went to turn off the laptop, and it went into update mode, and it stayed in update mode. And when it did, it created this whine on the shortwave radio. So it took it a half an hour for it to finally finish that update. Now, the update's finished, the laptop's off, the scanner's off, the shortwave radio is on, and conditions are good right this minute. Now, they could change any second. So I'm going to zoom in here and just kind of see what we can find on the HF bands on this little Radio Shack DX394. Oh, let me sit down here and move my scooter around so I can get to the radio. Whoa, I'm really a bad driver when it comes to a scooter. Okay, so what I was thinking about doing initially, that's still coming in great, is just kind of scan or go through various different bands and see what's going on. So let's go to, since we're close to by, let's go to China Radio, which is at one place is 9.570. So 9570, that's pretty close. And 9570, right now, there's nothing. Okay, let's try a different band. Let's try 6.02. Okay, so we got a frequency 6020 here. There's China Radio. A little muffled. Now, the one problem I have in my location is when I go down to between, say, 5 megahertz to 7 megahertz, that's where the Caribbean stations are, and they come in strong and they usually wipe out anything. So that's why for me, and they're usually in Spanish, that's why for me, the 31 meter band is a better band for me. So let's go back up to 31 meter band, say 9 megahertz, frequency 912. Whoops. That again. Okay, we're at 9 megahertz. We're just going to slowly scan. Now, right now, this particular radio, the DX394, has muting while tuning, which I hate. There is a mod out there that I showed you in a previous show that you can disconnect a wire internal to the receiver and turn that function off. I want to do that because I don't like muting like while scanning or while tuning. So that's what it's doing right now. I don't know how much noise from this fan up here. You can't see it, it's off camera right now. I'm going to turn that off. That could be creating too much audio noise. Now it may be that since it took me so long to get this set up that the band conditions have gone bad again for my location. Excuse me. It's already 7:15 in the morning, which is typically for me after 7 o'clock. Shortwave listening conditions are kind of start dropping off real fast, so it may be too late. Okay, there's 9540. Sounds a little bit like China radio. It's down in the mud. Now, what I'm using right now is I'm using one of my in-fed antennas, which is about 40 or 50 feet long and about 20 feet above the ground. And it's pointing northeast, that particular antenna. Now there's Radio Australia, it's still there.
She's using it to connect to people and shine a light on their life in rural Australia.
So that's still coming in good.
I think the most difficult part.
Now there's something at 9.66. Now, unfortunately, this particular guide is sorted by country, so it's not easy to find a frequency. I wish the author would have included the same information sorted a couple of different ways, sorted by country, time, and frequency. Unfortunately, he does not. Maybe I will write him and mention that to him. Okay, so I got something on 9.660. Let me just for the heck of it, I got my other computer on. Let's go to nope, don't want to do that. Let's go to Shortwave, and we'll put in I really like this website. The frequency 9660, and see what it says. It says that there is one station, and it's Radio Taiwan. Radio Taiwan is on 9660. Again, in that same portion of the world, Asia, which is what I usually get good on HF in the early morning in Florida. Kind of down in the mud. Now, one of the things I love to do is I love to, which I'm not hooked up to on this radio, I'm hooked up to on my satellite 800, is I've got on my satellite 800, I have 3 different antennas hooked to a switch that goes to that radio. that's one of the things I love to do, is see the effects of different antennas. Like one's a vertical antenna, two are horizontal antennas. They're in-fed antennas, one with a bow, one without. They face different directions. They've got different coax cables. So you can kind of get a feel for which one is doing better. And one thing I've observed is, depending on the station, the conditions, everything, different antennas perform differently at different times. So I shouldn't say this because a lot of wives or whatever would get upset, but you can't have too many antennas. Just like you can't have too many radios, you can't have too many antennas. There's no perfect antenna. So let's go up a little more.
Oh. Dodgers en Arizona, Bud Norris y Robbie Ray, y San Francisco juega en San Diego, Madison Bumgarner, Andrew Kashner. Se acabó lo que se daba. Vuelvo ahorita con ustedes.
That's like it's next door. It's a Spanish accent, which could be that it says next door. It's 9.805.
Minutos y es el momento de compartir con usted lo que nos ofrece nuestra página web, Martino.
I bet you it's not on the Shortwave website, because a lot of these Spanish stations are not registered. What I mean is they're not registered under some of these listings. Let's just look at it for the heck of it. What did I say it was? 9805. And it is booming it. It's the S meter is pegged, so it's probably close by. Actually there is, and it is. My glasses are fogged up. Oh, Radio Martini, which is in the northeast section of the United States, which might explain why it's coming in so good. And it says it's in Spanish right now. Bingo, that's it. That is, the S meter is pegged.
Se negaron a pasar el examen obligatorio de revalidación de título EUNACOM, alegando que este no puede medir la verdadera calidad de un médico.
One thing I need to do, and I haven't done it in a long time, I've been really negligent on taking notes. I need to start taking notes on stations that I can use for a reference to find out if band conditions are good and what frequency they're good on. So let's just see in this little guide if this station is listed. Probably not. No, it's not listed. The only stations on this guide that's in the United States is Voice of America. Okay, let's go on for a few more minutes.
Más represión contra la sociedad civil.
Okay, that's the 31 meter band. It does appear that some stations are coming in much better than they have been. So again, and that's what I do quite often, not every morning. I check that solar flux index. It's just an indicator. It doesn't mean that it's absolutely correct about how the HF bands are going to be, but it's an indicator. If that number is above 90, which is, you know, typically when things are not so bad like they are now, you want it to be above 100. But right now, I'll settle for above 90. But above 90, then I'll come down here and try HF. May be dead, may not, may be active. I just try it. And then what I originally planned to do this morning was I was going to try the HF bands. They weren't active. Stations weren't coming in. I was going to switch over to my laptop and my scanner radio and try some VHF and UHF frequencies. those will be local. Those would be, like I mentioned in my previous show, is the railroad bands, because I do have railroad tracks about 4 blocks from my house. Not really active, but of course I've become accustomed to them in that, number one, I can hear the trains go by when I'm in the house and I got the air conditioner on and everything. The house is all locked up. I can't hear it. If I'm outside, like working in the yard or something, I can hear it when a train goes by. And I don't very often hear the trains go by anymore. So that's not going to be that active. The trains are active across the bay for me, and I have been able to pick up via the internet, not directly with a radio, communications on those bands, because there is an internet radio, or a radio on the internet, that monitors the railroad traffic over east of me in the middle of Florida. Okay, so that's where I'm at. Again, I could go on and continue to scan, but I got the air conditioning turned off so it didn't interfere with the audio, and it's getting quite hot in here, so I'm going to call it quits. If you enjoyed this show, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for everybody that subscribes, and thanks for everybody that's been using my Amazon store. There's a lot of good deals on Amazon right now, so if you use my store, I appreciate it. I get a small commission, which I use to buy things to review on my show. Okay, bye-bye.